Welcome everyone to Around the ACL. It's Michelle Thompson here, and just with Anthony Ione. It's just the two of us today.
Yeah, we look bigger. We're missing like a third box or something.
We're missing our third. Yeah, it's just us two, chilling. It's been a crazy sort of end of the season. A lot of people traveling today, so it's just going to be us two. But we'll hold it down, right, Anthony?
We got this. We got this.
Okay, cool. All right, so what we're going to talk about today is, of course, we're going to recap the shootout, the SuperHole, and the Open from this past weekend in Canton, Ohio. We're going to do just a read-through of the current rankings as we go into Worlds, and then we're going to talk through the World schedule. It's a hefty one. There's a lot going on, a lot of fun events, lots of broadcasts, so we'll keep you informed on all of that good stuff. But before we get into all of that, we have to talk about this weekend at the Hall of Fame Village in Canton, Ohio. We were in a plastic dome. I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah, hot dome. It was a hot box.
Okay, but it was that day. But Saturday, it was an ice box. I was freezing.
Really?
Yes.
I wasn't there Saturday, but it was
extreme.
Steamer.
Yeah, but it was weird because anybody who was watching the live stream, I don't know if you were watching it, Anthony, when the rain started.
Yeah, I did hear that. It's like making a lot of noise.
It sounded like a train was coming through the building. Like at any point we were going to duck and cover as an airplane landed on our head or a train blew through the building. It was absolutely insane how loud it was. And the pros didn't seem to really even notice or attend to it, right? Like they just kind of, I would have been like, what in the world? Like, are we okay?
Yeah.
They kept going. All right, let's talk about the shootout first. Our winners were Ryan Hart for men's singles, Sarah Cassidy for women's singles, and Jimmy McGuffin and Damon Dennis for doubles. The only one in that, to me, that wasn't a surprise was Sarah Cassidy, and she almost didn't get it. Halfway through, I thought, or more than halfway through, I thought, man, this is going to go to Miranda. She did pull it off in the end, but Ryan Hart and even Jimmy McGuffin and Damon Dennis, couple surprises there, and look at how many people are left that didn't make a shootout because of these people. So pretty crazy. What are your thoughts, Anthony?
Yeah, so in men's singles, I mean, Ryan Hart definitely unexpected, not because he's not a great player. I mean, we've been eyeballing this kid for a while, especially when I saw him first time in Myrtle Beach. So we'll go all the way back to the beginning of the year. He has all of the shots, just because he's throwing, I think he was throwing psycho R's. I believe. Yes. Don't quote me on that. I think it was Psycho R's on the broadcast.
Those were new bags. He said those are, so the Psycho R's were his first time playing those bags at this weekend.
Okay. So I don't know much about those bags. Does that mean that they're the extra cheater bag now? I don't know. What does that mean?
I would assume, because you have to think it's probably, I would assume it's the same carpet as the Viper R, but it must be I would assume the Psycho fast side.
Yeah, it's got to be.
And the Psycho bag is fast. Like super fast.
So I assume it's going to be extra drippy. It's going to be like extra slinky season with those things.
Oh, but it's the new Slinky Tech ones.
Oh yeah. I heard that that terminology was picked up. Did it even have like a copyright on it too? Like someone
it might have actually.
I'd be surprised. But yeah, so he's got all the shots. I mean, just because he's throwing these slinky style bags, and Tony Smith shows us that he can do the same thing with his slinky bags. He still has the ability to cut and to roll. And if we kind of look at how it led in, it was Tanner Halbert, who the play-in games, it was Chamberlain versus Halbert. And ultimately Ryan Hart on the other side. I think it was Eric Davis coming out of that side, but yeah. And then bracket B, if you look at, so you're talking about the play-in match to get to TV, Bernasset coming one match away from TV. Devin Harbaugh ends up getting, so it's two brackets, bracket A, bracket B. If I look at bracket B, Bernasset one match away to get to TV, and then Bernasset gets Caleb Batson. Devin Harbaugh gets Justin Burton Jr. So we keep seeing these same names just show up in the bottom. The Batsons, the Burton Juniors, the Harbaughs, the Chamberlains. Eric Davis almost, one win away to get to that championship match. Surprisingly, I think he gets skunked this season, right? No singles, no doubles, and he's been a consistent face in the shootout format. But props to Halbert. For some reason, it surprises me every single time I see Halbert deep into a bracket. Last year, not the case. This year, he's just so absent. He's other things going on with Tanner Halbert. So every time he makes a deep run, I'm like, yeah, I guess I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised because at any moment he can turn on that OG game. But yeah, with Ryan Hart in that final, actually, if I go to Devin Harbaugh first, he was cooking through bracket play. So what we saw on the broadcast was not the Harbaugh all day. He goes all the way through the bracket, doesn't give up a single double-digit game. He goes through Windsor. Windsor only gets 5 points. Burton Jr. only got 4 points. And Bernasette, who was really, really hot, there was murmur around the room. At the beginning of that one, that Bernasette was shooting fire. So that's kind of why I like to get into the shootouts right when the doors open. I like to walk through at 8 a.m., warm up with the players, feel the environment, just because you kind of really feel the whole shootout experience. You start hearing who's hot, who's not, you start getting a feel. And I'm trying to follow, you're trying to pick who's going to make it to the broadcast, because how ultimate would that content be if I get on the ESPN broadcast and I just happen to pick the right guy and I followed him all the way through the bracket? Then you have that great history and that content. So, I'm kind of filling out the room. Who am I going to follow today through singles? And I heard about Bernasette late. It was probably already like third round through the bracket where he was hot. So I wasn't able to get over and watch him. But I heard Bernasette was throwing all kinds of bar of soaps. Someone said they bar soaped him 3 times in one match.
Wow.
So I really thought Bernasette was
he has like a high throw. It's kind of hard to picture the bar of soap for him.
Yeah. So if you've ever seen Bernasette's push bag, he actually has this kind of drastic lunge. It's a very deep lunge. So that step over rule coming into play for him on just his push bag, because he really comes across that line with force and he could put some zip on it. So I was like, wow, Bernasette's just knocking down bar soaps, which makes sense. Like you said, he throws a real fast, floppy bag, and if he can put some speed on it, that would play into it best. But I think Kat Kennedy Halbert, she jumped on the stream for a minute, said it best. Ryan Hart had no mercy on the broadcast court. He 4-bagged half his round. The cut was rolling, or the cut was moving. The roll was working. And like it was talking about with those cycle R's, and he didn't have an easy path either. He went through Damon Dennis, Eric Davis, Tanner Halbert, and never giving up double-digit points. The thing that got me the most was his confidence. His first time on a broadcast in a singles event, the dude was stone-faced. He was cold, like highly confident. Yes, right? Did you feel the same thing? No nerves?
Yeah, so I asked him before I said, where are your nerves at? And he said, honestly, I don't really have any. And I said, well, you did play, obviously, in teams at some point this season. And so that would be your first broadcast appearance. And he said, wasn't nervous. So, so this is technically his second. And yeah, just no nerves. And you could tell. I mean, he was just like, Devin Harbaugh obviously had mistakes. He gave up opportunities to get points when he could have. But I don't even know if he would have capitalized on those points if he would have won, because Ryan was just unstoppable.
Yes, he threw really, really well. And speaking of those mistakes, he did make very few of them. And it was basically giving a 10. And every time he would miss and Harbaugh had a chance to go get 2, he was left.
Yep.
Every single time. I think when he was down on the broadcast, when he was down 8-0, he gave up 4 shots left, which would have been 2 points each on a 12-10. So it should have been 8-8 if the same Harbaugh had been playing all the way through.
Right.
But yeah, we just, something just didn't work right for Harbaugh. And it's getting to the point now where, just from a fan of the game, I want to see OGs still relevant in the game. I want to see a Baldwin come back, a Kamba come back. I want to see the Dennises and the McGuffins still successful, but I also want to see the growth through the rookies and all this stuff. But for Devin Harbaugh, it's like, if you said, who do you want to win the most? Like, who are you rooting for the most in a national or a world's win going into this Rock Hill in a couple weekends? It's Devin freaking Harbaugh, man. I want this guy to win a national or a world's so freaking bad for him, because he's such a good dude.
He's so overdue. Like, it's crazy how he's always right there. Yeah. And, and so, yeah, it's pretty nuts. We'll talk about the rankings later, but he comes at number 6 without those signature wins.
Yeah, we hyped him up so much in the opener. So on the broadcast, we're like hyping up Harbaugh. He's the wait, how did you put it? He's not the favorite. He's the
It's so mean, Anthony. Okay, let me tell you, For everybody watching out there, Anthony and Trey and Jeff get to record their open. Mine's the only one that's live, and sometimes words just escape my head. And the word that I could not think of was favorite. So thank you for
It's
that.
like you're the one that's
You
supposed to
should
win by a
win. Like,
lot.
you're like good, I think, at this is what I've heard.
Hey, I blew it the pre-recording too, and we have the chance to pre-record. So I'm running through my opener and I listened to it back. I said Devin Harbaugh has been the top 5 player in 4 of his pro seasons. I don't know why I said top 5. It's top 10 in 4 of his pro seasons. So I'm listening to it back and I'm like, damn
Nobody
it.
at home would know that except for like hardcore court. Everybody knows
Right.
that I couldn't think of the word favorite.
Right. I immediately hit Harbaugh up and I'm like, hey man,
My bad.
sorry. Yeah, my bad, but it sounded better for you. You're top 5 in 4 seasons, just so you know. But yeah, on the women's side, just to kind of skip over to that one, you mentioned Sarah Cassidy versus Miranda Coy. So the lead-in matches, 2 ladies, 1 game away from TV. Elizabeth Tennyson again. If we go back to what was it, like Shootout 4? It was her against Lori Duel. I just remember she shot lights out. She shot like a high 10 and lost by a point. So there's Tennyson again showing up, and
That's
she
not
was
how she
leading.
performed on the live stream court, though. To get into that game, you did not. I did not see her top play. I did not see what we're talking about on that broadcast. So I think that she'll definitely reflect on that, and I would be shocked if she doesn't come back next season and grab one.
Yeah, she's solid. And then same thing with Vanessa Fillingham. She was 1 match away from the broadcast. And here's what's just coincidentally, she's playing Cassidy to get to TV this past weekend. Let's rewind to the weekend before. It was Vanessa Fillingham versus Sarah Cassidy to get to TV. So that's twice now. Vanessa Fillingham has been right there, and Cassidy gets her both times. But yeah, Cassidy looked good. I mean, it was really weird. It was just like back and forth, like kind of weird swings, right? In scoring, Miranda had it lot. Well, Miranda had a 3-bag wedge up the right, gave up like a 6 or something early.
Mm-hmm.
And then she battles back and takes the lead. Cassidy was down big. I want to say it was like 6 or 7 points. And there was this moment in the match where Sarah Cassidy had to choose whether to air. Oh, no, it was before that. Miranda had to choose whether to back block or to push through everything and just give up a 2, I think was the case. And she back blocked. And like I was saying on the broadcast, it was like, man, I kind of don't like the back block, because if Sarah comes over the top, she doesn't even need to hit the airmail. She just has to break this kind of bunch on the side loose, miss the airmail, and get, I think it was a 4 or a 5, and she hits that. So that turned everything around. That was Miranda's match to win going into the last 2 rounds. So devastating loss for her in the final round or 2 of that match, and Cassidy comes out with the win.
But yeah, especially it being the last one, your last chance to get in, and you're that close, and I really, like I said earlier, thought it was hers. Sarah Cassidy in both finals, I felt like had a few bags just over the hole off the back of the board. I feel like that was like what I saw the most from her, was just bags coming in a little, like not enough speed control on them, going a little bit too fast. And that is kind of where I saw her giving up points.
Yeah, and it's big money. I mean, it was they're going into the shootout finals in the championships for the big money, but they're still winning. There's $4K on the line. So Sarah or Miranda Coy is tasting $4,000 going into the last round or 2.
Not too shabby.
And gone. It's gone on 1 back
painful.
block and an airmail. So it's painful. It's painful.
And how about the senior doubles? Jimmy McGuffin, Damon Dennis, take it down.
Yeah, again, I mean, I love to see the OGs, the players that have helped, at least when I came in, showed me what the game could do. They were my, what good looks like in the sport. So I have a special place in my heart for the OGs. So super excited to pull them out. But, just because they're young doesn't mean they're not OGs. Ryan Windsor, goes back to that time frame as well, 2017, 2016. But yeah, that one was tough. And if you talk about who, again, just to kind of highlight the people 1 game away from TV, Derek Holland and Berkeley Pear paired up. They're 1 win away from TV. Windsor Wooten take them down. And then Rawls Kingsbury again. Kingsbury's already locked up singles. They have done surprisingly well this year in doubles, and they're 1 win away from the game. But no Wooten threw well in that final to me. It was a weird game. Big point swings. think Windsor gave up. It was Windsor, I think, that gave up a 7 early, and then Wooten comes back and gets a 6. And it just wasn't enough. Windsor. It just came down to Windsor. It was just slightly off. There were moments where you can go out and get a 2, push through that bag. An open hole ends up short left. Just couldn't capitalize on the opportunities. But yeah, Double D and Big Mac getting it done. So congrats.
That wasn't the case, by the way, throughout the day. I talked to Noah right before they went on and just said, what is it? Like, what's working? And he said, Ryan Windsor is unstoppable today. I'm just trying to get the bags back to him. So that was his point of view going into that match. And I think once he realized, Ryan's a little bit off, now I've got to pick up, and Noah did rise to that.
He did.
And do really, really well. And I think it was just that Windsor just wasn't playing the same way he was throughout the day.
Yeah, I agree. And it was, just to mention, I think it was McGuffin and Dennis came right out at Shootout 1. They played, who did they play? They played the Ryans. Yeah, they played Ryan Smith and Wiedenfield in Shootout 1. Lost it. So come all the way to the end. Shootout 8. They're like, all right, we didn't get the first one, but we're going to get in eventually. So
and then they got to play them again, right, in the finals, because it's 1 and 8 that play. So they will play each other. In our open division, doubles went to Justin Burton Jr. and Logan Chamberlain. Singles went to Alex Rawls. Alex Rawls already had a singles win earlier in number, what was that? Alex Rawls, I know he had one. Number 5. So he's already in the Tournament of Champions that we'll talk about when we get to the world schedule. But and JBJ and Logan Chamberlain's already in with Sammy Soto. So, that doesn't really work for JBJ, but they do get that next title here. And then our SuperHole, Logan Chamberlain takes that down as well with Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco. So good weekend there for Logan Chamberlain. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, open doubles. I'd like to start here, and I just kind of want to paint a little bit of a picture, and then definitely want to get your input because you were there and you kind of saw it and felt it live. But we got to open up with Braden Wilson and Cash Chamness. So if you don't know Cash,
electric.
Yes. So Cash, the dude was born in 2015. That feels like yesterday to me. So he's 7 years old. Braden Wilson, we've talked about him before on the show. The 11-year-old. They go through. I mean, just kind of take this in for a minute. This is in doubles in the open. They go through Matt Guy and Elizabeth Tennyson. And check this out. Matt Guy throws an 11.17 versus the 11-year-old Braden Wilson and gets outscored. Wilson shot an 11.33.
Did he? Because I knew Elizabeth struggled, and so I didn't look at the comparison of how he threw. I knew they won because she was struggling on her end, but I did not realize that he outscored her.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, he outscored Matt Guy. He outscored Matt Guy. They both outscored. But then the 7-year-old Cash, think about, the dude's 4 foot 10 inches, maybe 70 pounds. And this little guy threw it a 10.23 in 13 rounds against Kano and Batson. So that's the kind of player you're getting at a little man. They beat Eric Anderson and Timmy Jonas. They beat the Shootout 8 champs that weekend, McGuffin and Dennis. And then a 24-round battle against the OGs, Hissner and Henderson. They were up 18-15, lost it 21-18, but a serious run for these little guys. And it kind of, Meesh, the youth is taking over. It just kind of keeps solidifying that argument.
What is Cash gonna be like, and what is Brady be like at 18?
Scary. Like
that's terrifying.
All of us out there who are struggling to throw 9s in a match, like just stop. You're done. Just quit because you don't stand a chance. If you 7. Yeah, you've been throwing 3 or 5 years and you're still like an 8.6. You're done. Just put the bags away.
I've been throwing for 2 years and I'm still a 6. So
there you go.
This is
change your mindset. Fair. It's all about fun at this point. Competition is over. Yeah, what was it like in the
Cash is Rich Chamness, the owner of BG's son. And what's so funny is, we had a Kids Throw 2 tournament in 2021. And I said to Rich, do you want to pair up Cash with Rome? And I said, Rome, he goes, Cash doesn't really play. I said, neither does Rome. And I said, he doesn't really care about cornhole. He's like, neither does Cash. Let's just do it because we're all going to be there. And that would be more fun if they played in their own little age division. turns out, as soon as he told Cash he's going to compete in this tournament, Cash got serious and he started practicing. And he got really good by the time that tournament happened. Now, Rome did not practice, by the way. So my 7-year-old, or I guess 6-year-old at the time, was still not interested, but Cash was money, and it never stopped since then. So he started in, 2021.
Super impressive stuff. And they're doing all the shots, all the elite level stuff that we're seeing, they're making it look easy. But yeah, just to talk about the final real quick, just kind of one closing on the open doubles. You go to the final, Justin Burton Jr., Logan Chamberlain versus Caleb Batson and Gavin Cano. It was it was Cano versus Burton Jr.
Yeah.
And they weren't on the same side. Cano scored 17 of the 20 points. Burton Jr. scored 17 of the 21 points. So it was their opponent on their side. Chamberlain got one more point than Batson. He scored 4. So Cano balled out. Batson only got 3 of those 20 points, lost by a point.
It was painful to watch.
Yeah,
it was. It really was. Felt so bad. What a way to go out.
Yeah, no doubt. I just wanted to mention open singles real quick. I know we're running over. Did you see the Harbaugh Jordan Power match for that bracket?
No,
Bananas.
I didn't. I was
39
traveling.
rounds. 39 rounds, both above an 11. It was a full-on brawl. They went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They went 8 4-baggers in a row at one point. Double 4-baggers. But yeah, what a beast of a game there. And then so that was bracket E finals. Hissner surprised me with the highest PPR in his bracket. That's not a Hissner game. So I found that one pretty exciting, but it was massive. There were 8 total brackets, 300-ish plus tier 1 players. So that's a massive bracket out of that one. But yeah, you talked about Alex Rawls getting the win. The dude's a beast, and he's underrated. He's not talked about a lot, but we're talking about multiple years in a row now where this guy is top 2, 3 player in the world. He's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I think he was on many people's top, at number 1 on many of our top 10 lists for a while there. So showing why. And how fun was Ocho Cinco? He took it serious. I think I saw Spice Adams, who was competing in our last SuperHole, posted on the post that Chad won that said, "Oh no, we don't need to give this guy anything more to brag about." No, I can't believe he won. So Ocho Cinco takes down the whole thing. He is not going to shut up about it. That's what I'll tell you for sure. And it wouldn't surprise me. He's good. They were all pretty good. So really fun SuperHole with the NFL players at the Hall of Fame there.
Yeah, it was cool just to have 4 NFL legends kind of lining up there. Wide receiver legends, they're all Pro Bowlers, some Hall of Famers, and we're in the Hall of Fame area. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, Ocho Cinco, he was really good on the interviews. I thought he just had these really deep responses to all of your questions. I've always been down in my life, or something like that. It's just totally.
He was treating this like it was an NFL game. Like and he kept going like this at the end of his interviews, like the call. And I go, who at the end? Who are you telling to call you? He's like, my wife. I'm like, okay. Every interview he ended it with like a phone. Call me. I'm like, what is that? He was
Andre Reed was super cool, just off the court, man. Just the way he was handling, like there was kids coming up. He was like, chatting with some kids, signing autographs.
He sat in the audience during the shootout. Did you see that?
He was awesome. He was awesome.
Like, I'm going to watch this thing. They usually don't. The celebrities are usually back in the green room. They come out right before they go on. He was in the audience watching the shootout finals.
Taught a little kid a lesson that I learned a long time ago, about when you're talking to adults and you're shaking hands to look them in the eyes. This little kid was like kind of like shaking his hand but not looking, and he was like, all right, this is a moment. And he was like, hey, when I grew up, this is how you did it. So he taught this little kid to look a man in the eyes when you shake his hand. So I was like, this dude is really cool. And he was like just talking to the kids. Really, really liked Andre Reed.
I did too. I totally agree. All right, let's move into our current rankings going into World. Let's start with pro singles. We have Mark Richards at number 1. Alex Rawls and Tony Smith are tied for number 2. Justin Burton Jr. comes in at number 4. Jacob Gore, number 5. Devin Harbaugh, number 6. Caleb Batson, 7. Alan Rawls, 8. Jamie Graham, 9. And Joe Neested, number 10 For pro doubles, our number 1 is Tony Smith and Jacob Trzynski. Number 2, Eddie Grindersleeve and Caleb Batson. 3, Logan Chamberlain and Justin Burton Jr. 4, Philip Lopez Jr. and Mark Richards. 5, we have a tie with Gavin Cano, Fisher Hamilton, and Kyle Malone and Jimmy Humans. 7, Joe Neested, Jeremy Schermerhorn. 8, Alan Rawls and Chris Kingsbury and Trey Birchfield and Alex Rawls. And 10, Cody Henderson and Adam Hisner. No Matt Guy and Jamie Graham. Does that surprise you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. If we, I mean, now it doesn't surprise us, but if we went back to the beginning of the season and not seeing either, not seeing a Matt Guy in the top 10 or even them in doubles, blows my mind. But one thing worth mentioning now that we're just kind of looking at this list from a step back. So, fun fact: the line of age in the league is 30. 50% of the pro division is under 30. 50% is over 30. Not one top 10 player in singles over the age of 30.
That's depressing.
And then if we look at doubles, you have 20 names there over 10 doubles. You got a couple. You've got Eddie Grindersleeve, Philip Lopez, Jeremy Schermerhorn, Chris Kingsbury, and Henderson Hisner. So that's 6. So 6 of 20, 7 of 20 are
over
30. So again, a dominant field in doubles in youth. So youth's taking over. It's showing it right here. The youth is taking over.
They absolutely are. And even if you want to hear a quick open standings, Alex Rawls and Tony Smith at 1, Ryan Wiedenfeld 3, Gavin Cano 4, Alex Hicks 5, Jimmy Humans, Joe Neested, and Logan Chamberlain 6, Jacob Gore 9, Gage Landis 10. I don't think Gage is over 30, right?
More youth. Yeah.
So it just continues on. So also why it's so cool to see Damon Dennis and Jim McGuffin take down the shootout, just because it is kind of the anomaly at this point. We're seeing this young crowd take over. All right. Worlds is coming up. It's hard to believe it's here. There's going to be so much going on. I'm just going to quickly walk through. We'll talk a little bit about each day, focusing more on the back half, which is where the big events are for the pros. But day 1 on the 29th of July, it's a Saturday, we're going to have the Team USA qualifiers, competitive singles, intermediate doubles, Team USA qualifiers, and ACL high school doubles. Your broadcast that night is free. It's at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN3. You're going to see competitive singles, intermediate doubles, and the USAC event finals. That's the one you're doing, right, Anthony?
Yeah, so with that one, that's right out of the gate. So I'm flying in Friday. That'll be Saturday. I think that kind of kicks off the weekend. Okay, yeah. So, and just the little bit I know, I haven't dug into it too deep yet, just because we're kind of trying to make sense. But so when you talk about your U.S. national team, once we get in a world's environment, once we're, U.S. versus Germany, or, how we mix that up, that's going to be your team that competes across the globe. So it's going to should be 8 players, 4 men, 4 women. So you're going to have a men's singles winner, a women's singles winner, women's doubles, men's doubles, and a co-ed or mixed double. So that's where you're going to get your 8. So once we finish up that Saturday, and I think that's how it's going to be. It's going to be those 5 matches on the ESPN broadcast. Again, don't quote me. I don't have all the detail, but I believe it's going to be those 5 matches on the broadcast, and then that will essentially make our U.S. national team to compete globally.
Great. Day 2, Sunday, July 30th, the intermediate blind draw, the competitive blind draw, the pro teams quarterfinal matches to see who's going to go into the semifinals on TV. Women's doubles, seniors doubles, ACL high school singles, competitive doubles, and intermediate singles. The broadcast that night is on CBS Sports Network at 9 p.m. Eastern, and that is going to be that 100K pro teams semifinals. There'll be 2 semifinals and then the finals, so we'll see that as we walk through the days. But I am pumped for the teams events. Like, now we're getting into it. We're getting into playoffs. It's playoffs.
Yeah, talk about that one a little bit, because I haven't made all the nationals and haven't been all the teams event. You've been at all of them. I'm curious at what your take is, and how do you feel like that's going to conclude?
Definitely, there were some surprises there, obviously, that came onto the playoffs. Like, I didn't see the Arizona Burn being the number 1 seed in that conference, and there they are at the number 1. So I think that's going to be a tough competitor. And then, the Missouri Mace, and we thought the Kentucky Colonels, the Chicago Spinners, like those were going to be the ones that were going to be up there, didn't make it to playoffs. So
didn't even make the playoffs.
Didn't make it. Yeah.
Wow.
So really excited to see how that all turns out. And I hope that when these semifinals happen on TV and then the ultimate finals happens on TV, that it just pumps up everyone for teams even more. And that's my hope going into next season.
Yeah, that's where it's tough to, if you go back to the beginning of the season, me and Trey rated the draft separately on our own independently. We looked at the draft. We both came in without seeing each other's results and had the Kentucky Colonels at the top of the list, like an A to A+ rating. Just the way that they drafted, it just seemed like they were pulling great players always around later, like getting great players deeper into the bracket. And then there you go. Like it's really hard to assess. And then, with this rookie pool coming in, and it'll probably play in the next season, PDC players, you don't get to see everyone in the world play. So you're going to have those guys come in where maybe you only have paper, data points like a PPR, but you don't know how could they perform on an ESPN broadcast. How are they in doubles versus singles? Maybe they suck in doubles and they just kill it at singles, and doubles we know is super important.
And round limited
format, taking that into account. And we see that across the board completely different. So it's tough to kind of, rate each one of these and give them like ranked ratings.
That's what was so cool about when they picked up Tanisha. I forget which team now picked up Tanisha Lashley through on the broadcast from the PDC, and she did phenomenal. It's really cool.
Gas.
Yeah, it's so cool to see that happen. And I think that's going to change the way people look at the draft next season. All right, day 3.
I think it was just one more comment. I think, what was it, Tony Smith that went like
and Alec Ryan
at some point.
They struggle bus.
Now, granted, they might be playing the best players on the other team, but
sure,
I think they were
they were like 0-7 or 8 or what. I don't know how many they played at that time, but they were 0-for. They were 0-for for a while. They finally got that win though towards the end.
No doubt.
All right, day 3, Monday, July 31st, women's singles, senior singles, USAC Juniors Doubles Championship. And then here's those Tournament of Champions. This is new this season. I don't have a lot of details about it. But basically, if you want an Open, you're going to be able to compete in the $5,000 USA Open Doubles Tournament of Champions and the Singles Tournament of Champions. And then we have the 5K State Points Champion Tournament and a mini boards blind draw. I think that's a fun, light event that we added in there. In terms of the Open doubles winners, if they have repeats, I said this earlier about Fisher Hamilton and Gavin Cano and JBJ and Logan, because someone on their team made it earlier in the season, they don't get to go. So Gavin Cano, Fisher Hamilton already made it with Eric Davis at number 5. So and then Gavin Cano won with Mark Richards, who already made it with Phillip. So that means Gavin Cano does not get to compete in the Tournament of Champions because his partners had already won elsewhere. Same thing, Logan Chamberlain had won with Sammy Soto, so that discounts JBJ. And then Ryan Smith won with Trey Birchfield, but Trey Birchfield had already won with Alex Rawls. So it was interesting to watch this weekend doubles to see who was going to win, because if some people won, that got them a ticket to this event. And if some people won, it didn't matter either way. And then obviously the repeat of Mark Richards won too, as did Alex Rawls. So they obviously have their bids already. So it takes it down to 14 competing in the singles. And so they'll get the bye, I'm sure. I'm not exactly sure how all that works. But I'm really excited for that event. That's going to be cool to watch.
Yeah, I wasn't really I wasn't up to speed on this at all. So yeah, kind of hearing how that lays out, that is awesome. Now I want to go dig in and understand all the logistics of it,
We'll have Trey when he's on next week kind of go into the details more, since it is a new event for us. It wasn't last season, and try to get all those questions answered and how that's going to run. The broadcast that night will be the next semifinals at 9 p.m. Eastern on CBS Sports Network for the teams event. And then the next day, day 4, Tuesday, August 1st, mixed doubles, USAC Junior Singles Championship, a big blind draw, shootout series final 8, USAC Juniors blind draw, PDC qualifiers, 70-plus senior singles, and the 1K ACL director blind draw with the broadcast at 9 p.m. on CBS Sports Network of the finals for the teams event. I was trying to think, do we have anybody over the age of 70 in the pro division? Because isn't Deb Odom the oldest, and she's not 70?
Yeah, I think she is the oldest.
Yeah, and I
Dennis
think she's
coming in
60.
at 62, I believe.
Yeah. So I don't think there are any pros in that 70+ seniors event.
Yeah, it'll be a small bracket, but you'll have some amateurs coming in, possibly filling that up, but it'll be pretty tiny.
Yeah, for sure. But big broadcast. Now remember, you can buy tickets to any of these events. And then there's a few that are free. I mentioned the first night is free. This next one on day 5, Wednesday, August 2nd, is also free. And that's going to be on ESPN2. It's the USAC Junior Finals at 7 p.m. Eastern. During the day, we have the Open 8-player team championships. Those are those teams that you see, I'm sure, on Facebook. Everyone, hey, we need this person to join our 8-person team. And then we have the Stevie Awards, which is going to be hosted by Anthony and Wally. You nervous about that, Anthony?
Yeah, that's definitely outside my box.
Yeah.
I
Hosting?
told myself I'm not even going to think about it until we got back from the shootout this weekend, because when Trey approached me like 2 or 3 weeks ago, we still had a lineup of travel, and I still have a career on the side too. So I was like, when we get back from Cleveland, then I'll start thinking about it. So on the flight home, I was like, oh shit, I got to start thinking about that.
Like,
So
I'm at my marker. No more procrastinating. I have to actually make this happen. Hey,
so that'll be
its own skill set. That's not the same as broadcasting.
No, it's completely different. It's completely out of the side of the box. I think the way to approach it is just to stay in your lane. Like, I'm not a comedian, but Wally's kind of a funny guy. He has some pretty, like, his humor is like really kind of you have to pay attention.
Yeah,
It's not obvious, like in your face humor.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to be working together, and that adds a whole nother element. Like if I was going out on myself, I could probably, I would script and practice and rerun and try and put together this sweet little like 5-minute, 10-minute opener that's just me. But then you throw a thing in there, and it's like, all right, now we got to work together. What do you think?
It's a dialogue. Yeah. It's
we got a lot to figure out.
With, by the way, in case anybody's wondering, no teleprompters. You got to go off the cuff.
Just go.
Here. Yeah,
so,
you got to run with it.
Yeah.
What I prefer, you prefer to have scripts. I prefer not to have scripts. I mean, so it's interesting to see how it plays out. I'm used to forgetting words and making mistakes live. I do it all the time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right, day 6 is Thursday, August 3rd. It's a $62,200 pro double event, advanced blind draw, and the $30,600 pro PDC blind draw. That's day 6. The broadcast that night is the Pro Shootout Championship. That's one that you don't want to miss. 9 p.m. Eastern, ESPN2. Get your tickets for that. Cool thing, tickets are $10 to $20 to attend this. Worlds sells out. That we get those stands packed. So head on over to get your tickets for that. Looking forward to that Pro Shootout Championship. Big money. It's going to be interesting when I'm interviewing the players. I'm going to be asking them, how does the weight of the money weigh on you? Because this is not like, $5,000. This is 50. So, I mean,
do you know how that's going to play out, Meesh? Is it going to be just so is like all of the preliminary matches going to happen off TV, or are we going to get
so that was on Shootout Series Final 8 on day 4.
Okay, so this will just be so we're basically going to get the same thing, the singles, the doubles.
Correct.
Okay. So yeah, if we were to list those out real quick, so your women's singles, let's see, you're going to have Cheyenne Bubenheim. We went Florida. Cheyenne Bubenheim, Samantha Finley, Rosie Streaker, Lori Duell, 4 floater in a row. And then Gina Ramirez came out with that walk-off airmail against Cameron Belvin. Then Cameron Belvin got it done the following weekend. And then Yeti Irwan at 7. Cassidy lost that one and then came back last weekend and got it done. So that's your women's.
Lots of Florida.
A lot of Florida. And look, look at the men's. Kyle Malone got the first one, Florida. You got Matt Guy, Tony Smith. Chris Kingsbury got the 4th, Florida. You got Mark Richards. You got Kano. I don't have the last 2 written here. Who got? We got Ryan Hart now that got last week, and then the week before it was who was that? Batson versus.
Men's shootout last weekend in Milwaukee.
Yeah, who got that one?
Here, I have it because Wally just texted it all to me. Because I accidentally asked for it.
No, it was Holland.
Malone, Ryan Hart, Tony Smith, Matt Guy, Chris Kingsbury, Mark Richards, Gavin Cano, Fisher Hamilton.
Fisher Hamilton against.
Okay. I don't know which one you didn't say, but
yeah, Fisher Hamilton against.
That's
Holland.
right. Fisher Hamilton got it there in Milwaukee. Absolutely. So yeah, that's what we'll see there. So that is day 6. Day 7, Friday, August 4th, $57,200 pro singles and advanced PDC doubles. And then that is the SuperHole broadcast. It's on ESPN at 7 p.m. Eastern. That one is definitely going to sell out. If you're looking to come to the SuperHole Championship, make sure you get your tickets as soon as possible for that event. We are nearly nailed down for all the celebrities, and there's a couple that couldn't make it due to conflicts of schedule. I think Shamar Moore is going to make it. So it's going to be cool to see, because, he couldn't make it last season. He had COVID. So he's going to be able to come this time, and we'll see who else is coming and able to come. I know Alexander Madison is definitely in, so that's cool. We'll see how that turns out.
Is he going to be a sub if we don't get a?
Yeah, because I know Justin Turner, the MLB player, cannot come because it's a conflict with his the season. So, you have to sometimes, this happened last season too, if a celebrity has a conflict that day. But I think we asked Ocho Cinco on the right after the broadcast. I think Stacy said it to him, and he said August 4th. Oh yeah, I'm free August 4th. so hopefully we get Ocho Cinco, because I think he's committed to wanting to win this.
Let's run through those real quick. You got Justin Burton Jr. we talked about for the MLB. Tim Settle Jr. came out just killing it with the airmail. Defensive tackle for the Bills. Vinny G from Jersey Shore. So I'm sure maybe the whole Jersey Shore crew shows up again.
I want to say that Vinny may be unavailable, but I don't quote me
on it. Paige Hathaway, the fitness model. She hit that and one.
Yep.
She's in. Okay.
She's in.
Sonyard Richards-Ross, the Olympic medalist, track star.
I believe she's also in.
That would be awesome. Alex Madison, you talked about we go back-to-back running or back-to-back football. Alex Madison, Aaron Jones, and then Ocho Cinco this past weekend.
Yeah, so I don't know about the last couple there, obviously, but I do know a few names have confirmed. So we're still nailing all of that down. Either way, it's going to be so much fun. I love the energy the celebrities bring. And now at least we're down to the celebrities that we know can throw a little bit.
Yes.
We've eliminated the ones that are just completely going to miss the board a bunch of times in a row.
Sweeping floors. There's a few that just sweep floors for us. It's tough.
Floor bagging it. So we're past that at least. All right, now we start to really get into it. Saturday, August 5th. Is going to be day 8, and that's your advanced PDC singles. And that night, or it's actually not night, it's noon Eastern, is your pro doubles broadcast. So obviously this being one of our big events, pro doubles, pro singles, this is where we crown our world champions. It's day 9, Sunday, August 6th. The pro qualifiers are happening that day, but also at 1 p.m. Eastern is the broadcast of singles. So day 8, day 9 is going to be your pro doubles, pro singles. And then at 3:30 Eastern, we're going to have a free broadcast. And that's what we're going to do, women's, seniors, and mixed doubles to get the rest of our world champions. So day 9, Sunday, is going to be a great day. Let me put it this way. On one side of the building, pro qualifiers, really different energy than the other side of the room, which is the broadcast, because the pro qualifiers is like the most intense energy I've ever felt when I've walked into a room.
Yeah, it's insane. What do you think about that pro double? So we're going into Worlds. We got Ruben and Power, the reigning world champs, from the biggest comeback in ACL history. It was a 20-2. They came back from 20-2 to get Richards and Lopez. What do you feel? Who do you feel are going to be?
It's not just a comeback. Like, a comeback's one thing. It's a comeback against at the time the number one team. So, the fact that they came back from that and here they are kind of surging at the end of the season. We are quiet pretty much the whole second part of the season. And then now they're coming in strong. It makes me wonder if that's going to continue into World. And it also makes me wonder if it's going to change their opinions on partnership for next season, which I said on the broadcast or on the live stream, Court. I can't wait for the off season. I think that's so much fun. All the conversations of all the teams and everything. So looking forward to all that and seeing if what happens here at Worlds is how that's going to play into what people do with their doubles partnerships going forward.
Yeah, if you talk about strength, like who's coming in strong into this one, I wouldn't necessarily put Lopez and Richards at the top of that, coming in strong.
That's and Grindersley.
Oh my gosh, right?
On a
Like,
run.
yeah, I mean, back to back, that would be pretty next level. Go national win, world champs. But in their way, I think coming in hot, who do we constantly see at the top in both singles and doubles? Tony Smith, Jacob Trzynski, kill it together and on their own. Logan Chamberlain, Justin Burton Jr., kill it on their own and in doubles. And I gave this hot take, I don't know, a couple weeks back, but Cano Hamilton. I mean, Cano, I think he's better than his ranking. I think he's like mid 20s, 25, 6, 7. I think this guy is a top 10 to 13 talent together with Hamilton. I don't want to spoil my hot take, Meesh, but they're definitely. I
You
think
can say
all
this.
those
Okay.
teams are coming in hotter than Lopez Richards.
Yeah, I agree. I think that when you ask the question of which team to look out for, those were the teams that came to my mind first, even before Lopez Richards, and really because have just seen a little bit of some left or right with Lopez on broadcast. I don't know so much about outside of broadcast. Obviously, most of what we can see is on the broadcast, and that's just what I've noticed from Lopez. He can hit clutch shots. We've seen him hit important shots to keep them in the game, but just a little bit of left to right that I don't necessarily see with Richards, and not really seeing with the other teams that are up there. And with singles, I mean, like I said, it'd be so weird to go a whole season without Matt Guy taking a title.
Facts. Could he come out and win Worlds? 100%.
Of course.
And everybody knows it. If he can somehow make the decision to just curb the air mails a little bit, like, hey, I'm not going to shoot this one. I think that he goes right to the top. And I think that is the difference between
I
them and the
saw
rest.
him doing some push throughs. He's got a great step out, collect, or even just sneak around. Like he does have those other shots. I just noticed that he has an unconscious airmail. So just as much as if the board was wide open, that you wouldn't think, you would just throw your normal slide shot with your normal speed, and it would probably happen fairly quickly because there's no thought to it. His airmail is that same way. And I almost wonder if he would do a little better if he would actually make a decision sometimes, like before automatically doing it. Is this my best choice at this moment? I just don't see it happening. Like I can't imagine him doing it. I don't know.
Can't teach an old dog new tricks. He's been doing that for 2 decades. Like,
yeah, I mean, you can though, because I think he's competitive enough that he would admit to himself if something wasn't working. And I think maybe if he does not take a title this season and not making top 10, maybe that is enough to make him kind of think, do I need to adjust something? And I'm not big on making adjustments with people who have elite talent because sometimes you got to ride out the wave. And will any female take the title from Cheyenne? I don't know.
No. No.
All right. That's a cold take. All right. You said you didn't want to give away your hot take. It is time to give your hot take. So what do you got?
All right. I'm going to come in with the world singles and doubles champs. Again, this is a hot take, so I'm not going to come out and pick the most obvious ones. Otherwise, it wouldn't be that hot.
Okay.
I'm going to go in doubles. I'm going to go with Gavin Cano and Fisher Hamilton. Take down doubles. They're your world champs. Again, there's your Smith Trzynski's, Grindersleeve Batsons, Chamberlain, JBJ's out there. Hot take. I want to go with Cano and Hamilton, and then pair that with Alex Rawls taking down pro singles. I think he deserves a call out like that. This dude he's a beast, and I think he's just underrated.
So I don't know if this is hot or not, but for singles, I'm going Devin Harbaugh. Come on, Devin. You can do this. We all know you can.
That is scolding hot because it just doesn't seem to happen. It's just like, what is going on? He's cursed. He's cursed, Meesh.
He's not. Don't put that out of the universe. You got this, Devin.
Not cursed. He's due. That's better. He's due.
You're due. That's right. All right, guys. That's all we have time for. We will see you all next week, and we'll continue our conversation going into Worlds, and then we'll see you all there in South Carolina. Make sure to get your tickets if you want to attend the events over at iPlayCornhole.com, and we'll see you guys next time.